Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for another video. Today we are going to be working together step by step to create your next or your first digital product. This is your sign to finally get out of your head and to create something from your ideas that can begin to generate you income and to put it out into the world. We are in this season of information overload where you're gathering so much information but you're doing nothing with it. And so in today's video, that is going to change. From idea to creating it, outlining what to say, how to sell, all the way through, and by the end of this video you will have a sellable offer that people are excited to purchase. You can skip around with the timeline below, but I'm gonna encourage you all to watch the video through because I'll be dropping little tips throughout the entire video that's going to make the marketing side of things extremely easy. Grab pen, paper, grab your laptop if you're on your phone because we're about to get to work. So the very first step is deciding on your topic. What is your digital product going to be on? And some people will say write about anything, or some people will say go to ChatGPT. But in this section I want to be very strategic because we want to make sure we're creating a product on a topic that people actually care about, that people are looking for right now. And so we need to choose a topic, but then we're going to validate it. Now, when it comes to deciding what topics we want to start doing research on, you can do one of two things. The first option is if you're already on social media in some way, surrounded by people who are interested in what you talk about, have friends and family who come to you for help often, or you're somebody who you know that you're already skilled in something in a specific area, the first thing you can do is just do a quick skill scan. And so this is when I ask myself, or I look through my comments, or I ask friends and family, what is something, one thing that you've helped at least one person with before? This is how I can start to get ideas of what my next topic for my product should be. Now, if you're someone who you're like, I don't know, nobody's asking me any questions, I don't have any comments, I have no idea what I want to do, then what you can do is actually go to ChatGPT. Now, this is a disclaimer. We are not using ChatGPT to write our product, to do the work for us, because if ChatGPT is going to give you what to write, why would your customer buy it from you when they can just go to ChatGPT to find the answer? We're not going to use it as a crutch. We're going to use it as a tool to help us pull out what we already know. And so when I do a quick skill scan, or when I go through my comments or my frequently asked questions or the emails I get, people often ask me a couple different things. These are going to be some of the topics that I hold over here as potential topics for my next product. People often ask me, how do I sell without being salesy? How to sell easily? How to monetize on YouTube? Or how to start a coaching business. So these are three topics that I could create a product on. But remember, before we actually go and create the product, I'm going to validate those ideas to make sure that whichever one I choose, it's relevant now. People are looking for that now. So we're going to pause on that. But before we do that, let's go to ChatGPT for those of you who don't have comments or are not really sure what it is you can talk about yet. If you're someone who you're going to be asking on ChatGPT, before we even put in this prompt that I'm going to give you, you need to know one thing. Who do you want to make a product for? So go within yourself. What skills do you have? Who are you really passionate about? Maybe you want to make a product for moms because you're a mom, you've been a mom 3 times, you've had success, you want to share that success with others. So maybe you want to talk to moms, or maybe you're someone who you got into college, you did well in college, you help others at college and to get into college. So you want to talk to college students. So scan yourself and your skill sets, your experiences, anything you've done in life. What group of people are you passionate about? You do need to have a who. You have to have a specific who. And so if I was doing this, then I would say aspiring entrepreneurs, because I've started a business. Entrepreneurs come and ask me for help. And so this is a group that I'm passionate about. What about you? Maybe it's believers, Christians. So choose a group. And when you choose a group, then we can go to ChatGPT and we're going to say in the chat box, I want to create a product for blank. And in that blank, you're going to put the type of person. I want to create a product for moms. I want to create a product for college students. What top struggles are they having right now? When you put that into ChatGPT, you're going to start getting some current events, things that people are talking about right now, common top problems for that group. And then you're going to choose 2 of them that you want to choose as possible topics for your products. But remember, I said before we decide on an actual topic, we need to validate it, because this is going to help marketing easier. This is going to help sales become easier when we create a product on a topic that's currently relevant. And so the next thing is to actually validate our topic and finalize the one topic we're going to create a product around. So let's start with this topic on how to get more coaching clients. To validate this, I want to see if there's current demand for that. Now, you may not want to post on YouTube. That's where I show up, but YouTube can be used as a search engine. So I'm going to go to youtube.com and I'm going to see if there's people already talking about this topic, if there's current demand, questions, videos on this topic. Okay. And typically when I am looking up a topic, I want to see if there's videos in the last year that has close to 100,000 views, because if so, that means that right now, currently, people are looking and watching at videos on this particular topic, which must mean they're interested in learning more, and I can show up with that ebook on that topic. And so a year ago, 22,000, a year ago, 2,000, 2 months ago, 2,000. There's not too many recent videos on how to get coaching clients. That does not mean immediately that there's no demand, but this may not be a topic that people care about. Already, I'm seeing these 2 videos here. One is like, you will never be able to sell until blank, and then 8 steps to become a sales machine. I believe I had topics here that talked about selling, how to create a sales process, and how to easily sell. This tells me that these 2 topics also may be more popular than just how to get more clients. So I'm just going to do one more quick round of validation, where I think now, with the research that I just quickly did, I think talking about sales process might be more valuable than just how to quickly find more coaching clients. I think talking about how to create your sales funnel or your sales process for a coaching business may be a more successful ebook for me. And I'm going to judge that again by putting this topic into YouTube. And I'm going to see, is there current demand for this topic? Are there currently videos within the past year that has close to 100,000 views, or at least over 50,000 views? Because that tells me that my audience, the people who may buy my ebook, they're already on YouTube looking up this topic. So if I were to put out an ebook or digital product on this topic, there should also be demand for people who want to buy this ebook on the topic. So I'm going to go back to YouTube and I'm going to put in some keywords. Here, I just put in coaching business sales process. And already, when we honed into sales, the results were better. So 5 months ago, 286,000 views. A year ago, 500,000 views for the sales process. People care about sales. A year ago, almost 50,000 views on how to build a $1 million coaching business. Simple methods. People want to know the methods. Again, this one came up before, how and where to get your first coaching clients fast. A year ago, this was kind of the topic that we had before, and you see it's not performing as well as the others, which is why we're going to focus in on saying the words, your method, your sales process. And then again, it looks like these talking about sales specifically, I can already see just focusing on sales, your sales process, over 1 million views. This is something that people care about. And so this is as simple as I need to do it. This is how I can validate that this is a topic that people care about. When I look it up on an area where my audience would typically live, where they would be, where they would get information, I see that there is demand. For right now, I know that I'm going to create an ebook specifically on the sales process for a coaching business. Now that you validated your topic, now let's actually go and create the ebook. First, we're going to outline it because that's going to make the creation process that much easier. But before we can even get into creating what you're going to say in this ebook, this is like, I want to say, the number one most important thing to actually creating a product that's going to sell easily. We don't want to just dump a bunch of stuff on the paper because who cares? We need to center your ebook on something so that when somebody sees it, they immediately want to purchase it. The most successful ebook that you can sell for any price, but especially at that $49 price point, is going to be solving a problem for somebody. It's going to be helping your reader transform. And so before you start to write the ebook, before we get into the outline, ask yourself, what outcome will your reader get when they finish reading this ebook? To help you do this, answer these 3 questions, and I will pause and actually write this down wherever you're taking notes right now. Number 1, who is this ebook going to be for? We already defined that in the previous step. So write down, who is this ebook going to be for? College students, entrepreneurs, moms, new Christians, new teachers, who? Okay. Number 2, what problem are you going to be solving? So if it's for new entrepreneurs, I'm going to help them finally have the confidence to get started. I'm going to solve their confidence problem. So what about you? Whoever you're serving, what problem are you going to be solving for them? This should align with the topic that you chose. And then number 3, what outcome will they achieve by reading your ebook? So I could say I'm going to be helping new coaches finally gain the confidence to come online and to easily sell to their audience. When you can say this, when you can identify who it's for and what they'll achieve by reading your ebook, this now becomes the title and the subtitle on the title page, on the cover page. This also now becomes what you can be saying in the product description when you're getting ready to sell the ebook. My ebooks sell easily because people understand this is a product for them and they know exactly what they're going to get out of it by the end of it. This is the part you want to pause and really work through, because when you have this will be the foundation of everything. Because next, when we go to do the outline, you're going to make sure that the steps align and meet this goal. This promise is what you can lead with, and it gets people excited because yes, finally they're going to find someone who's going to help them solve this problem that they have been having. Let's create your outline. So we know the title, we have the who, the problem that we're trying to solve, and the promise or the outcome that they will achieve. So let's actually write the ebook. Now, when we get to this section, the very first thing, we're going to actually use ChatGPT to help us, but ChatGPT is not going to be writing it for us. We're going to be using our experiences mixed with AI to make writing a lot easier. But the very first thing you should do, because remember, this should be a topic that you yourself have experience in. So the first thing I would suggest is when you start your outline, what is every single step that takes your reader to actually achieving the outcome or the promise that you said. So if I said that they're, by the end of this ebook, they'll understand their unique sales process from generating new leads with ease to closing new coaching clients and having a 6-figure sales year. How? When I think about each step, if I told somebody right now there are 5 steps to do this, what would those steps be? And so here I'm going to write the steps for mine. Here are the 8 steps that will take my clients from just getting started as a new coach to having 6 figures. If you want to pause and read that, you can. Each step will be a different section of the ebook. You don't have to have 8 steps. If there's only 3 steps, then make it 3 really good steps. If there's only 5, so be it. So now that we have the steps, now all we have to do is fill in every section. And so what I used to do was I would then come in here and write down every single thing I know about this topic that I could provide to my audience. So if step 1 is to decide like what they're going to sell, then I would write here everything word for word on what they need to do to decide on what they're going to sell. So now what I do, I actually, and this is the beauty of having all of this written out here, because now that you have these very specific things here, we can use this to help us in ChatGPT. So I have a prompt, and I will include this prompt down below. You can also pause to read it. And I'm going to copy this and we're going to put this into ChatGPT. Okay, let's put it in. So I said, I'm creating an ebook that teaches new coaches, how to build a six-figure sales process. Here is my title, my audience, my promise, and my outline. This is everything that we already listed here. I'm going to copy and paste this after the prompt. Okay, so I said, here is the things that you need. I want you to ask me one question at a time to help me develop what I'll teach in each section of the ebook. Pull from my own expertise as a brand strategist, as a coach. If you're writing an ebook for moms, you can say, pull from my own experience as a mom, as a new graduate, etc. I like to pull everything from my own experience. So I say this: do not write the ebook for me. Just guide me with focused prompts so I can talk through or fill in my lessons for each step. It's going to start asking me a question at a time. And by the end of it, I'll be able to fill in details for every single section and my ebook will be done. So what used to take me a couple of days can take me maybe an hour or less. So let's see what it does. I'm going to press this microphone and now I can just talk my heart out. I like to keep it kind of short, like less than 5 minutes, because after a while it'll say, oh, we didn't get that because it's too long, but that's plenty of time for me. And I can act as if I am in an interview or like I'm talking to a client on Zoom, or like a best friend of mine is trying to get into the space and she just doesn't know what to do. I can be natural. I can be myself. And so I'll read each question and then I'll just spend time here speaking and getting everything that I need and then pulling that and putting it back in my ebook. And so you can pause here if you're doing this alongside with me, or when you're done watching this video, you will do the same thing. And because you already have experience on this topic, you can just pull things out of you that maybe you forgot about, or maybe you didn't think about it in that way. And you can start to craft a really great ebook. If you're not really sure on the steps, or you want to make sure that you don't forget any steps, you can also go to ChatGPT and say, well, first of all, am I missing any steps? Are there any other steps that you think my who needs in order to solve this problem? This is why it's so important to write this down, because now that you have this written down, you can get so much intel and help from ChatGPT, because now you're being very specific. And so let's actually do that. I'm going to take this first part here. And let's say I don't know what steps to put in the outline to begin with. So I'm going to start a new chat and say, so I said, I'm writing a new ebook. Here's the title, audience, promise, and problem that I want to solve. What sections should be included as I work on my outline? Do not write the ebook for me. And then I forgot to post this earlier, so I posted that here. And then here are the different sections. And so here this is basically what I already have. But if you just want to make sure you don't forget anything, I teach on this topic all the time, but if you're someone who you're like, I want to make sure I don't forget anything, then you can come in here and make sure, like maybe there's something missing here that you did not include. Like I know I forgot to include an introduction, so I'm going to go back and add an introduction, but I have core offer. Yep, I have all of that. So this is perfect. So if you missed a step, then you can make sure that you go back in your ebook, in your outline, and you add it in. Like I need to add an introduction, but I already have literally everything else. And now you can start to create your outline. Oof, are y'all still with me? So we have our outline, we have all the good details inside. Now we can turn this into an actual product. You with your rough draft and your outline, you are already so many steps ahead of other people who say they're gonna do this, but they never actually take the time to do it. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure when you watch this video again, you pull up this and you pull up your laptop and you start writing your outline as well. Now let's go create the actual digital product together. So at this point, your outline should be completed by filling in each section based off of whatever they need to know in order to achieve that section. So the introduction to the ebook, how to decide on your core offer, whatever your steps are. As you can see here, I have like filler text in here because one, I would not share like my proprietary strategy in a YouTube video. And so for now, for the purposes of this video, I have filler text. But one thing I want to share with you is it's good before we go over to Canva to also make sure you know what supplemental template or graphic you want to go along with each section, if any. So in the introduction, I'm going to have a picture of myself. And this is helping me start the design process. And for this next step, I know that when I talk about how to decide your offer, I'm going to add a quick exercise, maybe with some lines to help them fill in the blank when it comes down to like step number 6, when I'm talking about how to nurture your clients, I'm going to make sure that I include sample emails for them to try and send out. And so whatever else you think you want to include that's going to help your reader understand whatever concept you're teaching, then I would like to add that in to my outline so that when I go over to Canva, I know what I'm looking for. Once I have that outline done, then I come over to Canva, and under templates, I want to find an ebook template with multiple pages. So I'll do ebook multiple pages. And so I like to just sit here and kind of scroll to see, okay, what are some of the things that they include? Does this align with some of the aspects I know I want to include in my ebook? Choose it, and I'm going to start to customize this template. I never like to keep a template as it is because I like to make sure that it just does not look recognizable in case somebody else online is using the same template. And so I have all of my things already uploaded, my logo, my brand colors, some of the fonts I like to use. And so the first thing I will do is come in here and change just the color of the overall ebook. And then when I do that, you can apply to all pages, and immediately the look of my ebook will change from what it actually was before. And so you can change it how you want, but this is just an easy way to quickly change the brand colors. And now we can actually work together to create the different aspects of the ebook. When I'm actually putting the ebook together, I need to have my core pages. This is what you always need to have in every single ebook to make sure it sells well. You need a cover page, which we have here. You need an intro or about me page, which is already here. You need a table of contents, which they actually have already. You need your core lessons. So all the things that we had when we were actually outlining each section, you need to have a page for your core lessons. Typically, you'll have one page per lesson. Sometimes if it's shorter, you can have more than one lesson on a page. And then from there, at the end of the ebook, you want to always have a next steps. So I will go through and like change this up if needed. I'm just going to scroll down to make sure we already have a next step page. And if not, we'll add that. Okay, and they do. So you see how this one has like unlocking your coaching future, and it's a link to join one-on-one coaching. You want to have something like this. So just make a note that you want to have a next step page. And this next step page is for those who read the ebook. Okay, how can they get in contact with you next? How can they work with you even further? On the title page, you want to make sure that you include the title of your ebook, a picture that relates to the ebook or that's aesthetic that aligns with what you'll be talking about, and then the transformation that we had already defined in the outline. From there, we now just do each step. So the next thing I would do is in here, I like to just edit everything to my liking. And so this may cause a lot of tweaking. Like for example, if this color that we put on here from the brand does not align, then we can change it to a different color. And so here I will put my introduction. When I'm writing an introduction, I like to say like, hi, my name is. You want to say who you are, what you do, and your relation to this topic, like why they should trust you in this topic. And then we need to have our table of contents. At any point, let's say you chose this template, but you're not liking how the pages are looking, you can always go back to design and start looking for something else. So maybe I'll look up table of contents only because I don't like how these table of contents look. I'm going to look to see, do any of these templates have a table of contents that I prefer over the one that I have? And if I see one that I like, then I will change it out. Which actually that goes along well with this. So we can go back and actually edit these later, but I like how that looks already compared to what I had. So this is also one of the ways that I'm able to have a template that's unrecognizable is sometimes, like for example, let's say I like this cover better. I like to add a page, I'm gonna add this. And this is a way that people can't copy me because I've done something that they won't even find. Get a different type of desk that might look better. Maybe we want to do this picture instead. So we added this picture and now it looks like this, the 6-figure sales process for your coaching business. I think that looks pretty cool. And now we have, this is the next page in here. And if we want to make these, like how these yellows match, if we want to make this yellow match for the purposes of this ebook, we can just change this to the yellow that's there. And so this is how you can start to create a custom ebook that nobody else has, because we take inspiration from the templates that are already there. We add in new designs whenever we want to make it look more like what we want. And so take time with it, and then we can change up the colors at any time. So now this page did not go with this page, and neither did this one go with that one. And so now we have a custom ebook. Once I like how this cover looks, this actually is going to also become the main graphic that goes on my website when I'm selling this ebook. And so if you have Pro, if not, you can just copy and paste this, but I have Pro. So I'm going to resize this to an Instagram picture, and I just want to do that first page. And now we have a graphic that we can put on social media and our website to sell our ebook as well. And so from here, you'll just start going in now and editing the actual context of your ebook. So we've already done the introduction. The next step is going to be to define your core offer. So I would just copy that. And then one thing I put in my outline is that I want to include an exercise. So I said I want to include an exercise. So my customer, they're going to learn how to decide on their core offer, then I want them to actually do the steps right here. So I would come down to some of these pages here and maybe and so I would include here these two questions here to walk them through the step of actually defining their core offer. And then I would do the same thing for all the next ones. I would simply come in my outline, copy and paste it. And if there's any space where I want them to do something different, I'll make sure that I add that space in there for them to do that. And then for the very last step, like I said before, we want to have a what's coming next or what's up next page. Lastly, you want to have a what's next page so that those who want to work with you, they can. And so on the very last page of the ebook, I like to include like another offer for them using language that would tell them like, this is your natural next step. So at the end, to lead them to take the next step, I like to always include often a discount code and a clear offer that's going to help them to actually implement the things that they learned in this ebook. It's optional, but it's good for those who've already invested in the ebook. They can now take the next step to grow even more. And then from there, we can download, save this as a PDF, and now we can upload this product onto whatever platform we're going to sell on. Okay, take a second and look at what we just created together. We went from a blank document, an idea, a possible topic, to creating a full-fledged digital product that people would be excited to buy because number one, we led with the promise, we led with the transformation, and we made it look good, and we're delivering on what we've promised. Now let's talk about how we can actually get this online so people can see it, find it, and buy it with ease. So where you decide to actually sell your ebook is going to depend on your goals. There are so many options, and so as people tell you where you can list your ebook or your digital product, listen for the explanation. Then you decide where you fit into that so you can put it in the place that best meets your current needs. And you can always change. I change it up all the time. And so if you already have an audience or you want to build a community and an audience and you want to have multiple streams of income and other things that you sell, then it's going to be best to put it on your personal website. So most of my products are on my website, which is on Wix. I've had Squarespace, I've had Shopify when I had a clothing boutique. I'll link down my video down below where I will build a Wix website with you guys. I made a video on that already. And so of course these ones will range in price range depending on the different features that you choose. I believe for my Wix plan, I pay monthly like $36 a month, and that includes me being able to have my website but also to sell my products on there as well. If you want outside reach, so if you want to be posting on a place where people can search and find your product based on great SEO, and you're already leading with the transformation, which is already powerful, if you want to use a place like that, and you can add your ebook on Amazon under Amazon KDP, or you can add it to places like Etsy as well. These different places, people are going there searching for things like what you're selling. Usually these places will come with larger transaction fees, so you may not make as much money as if you sold it on your own website. But maybe if you did it on your own website, you wouldn't have made sales at all. And so think about which one matches your needs now. If you want a fast, free option, which is like a kind of a mix between the two, I recently discovered PayHip. I'm actually going to be talking more about PayHip in the next video. Stay tuned, it's going to be so good. But that is an option where it's completely free to upload your resource. And so you all can do it there as well. So my favorite way to sell, and people always ask, okay, so how do you actually sell it? So I'm going to only teach what I do, okay? Because I can only teach you from my own experience. Once you upload your ebook, wherever you decided to sell it, whether it's on Wix, PayHip, Squarespace, Amazon, Etsy, wherever you've decided, you get that link, okay? You get that link, and that link becomes where you are sharing anywhere and everywhere. My favorite method is coming onto YouTube, making content that relates to my digital product because I know who I'm talking to. We already defined that. I know what problem I'm helping them solve. We've already defined that as well. And so when you know your who and when you know your what, you now also are eligible to come on social media, whatever platform you decide. My favorite one is always YouTube because of this reason. People are coming on this platform to get answers to their questions. And so you are helping them solve a problem. So think of what other content would this person also want to see? What other questions do they have? So if I am creating the ebook helping coaches to sell their offers, then what other questions do I know that coaches have? Think back to the research that we've already done. Well, they want to know how to sell easily. They want to know what product to sell. They want to know who their target audience is. I mean, think about all the other questions they may have. And then I start to create content answering all those other questions, giving them a piece of the pie. And then as they're looking for more details under every video, I always have a link leading them to the product because you're teaching them a piece of it. Now they're going to be looking on your channel to find more information, and then you have your ebook already there. And so this is what I'll say. First of all, I use YouTube. I've used YouTube since 2018 to sell my products and services. I've also sold on Instagram. I've also sold through email, Threads, TikTok, everywhere. And I've had the most success selling with ease when it came to YouTube. So this is where I decide to sell. But know that you'll need to be able to do two things if you want to also sell on YouTube. I'll say here a little caveat. I do have an entire coaching program, 3 to 6 months long, where I take people through this process. But unfortunately, if you're watching this video right now in October, the coaching program is filled and I only open it a few times a year. So the next time it opens will be December or January. If you want more information, the link will be down below. However, I don't want you to wait until then to take action. You'll need to be able to do two things if you want to also do how I do and sell on YouTube. Number one, you need to know what type of content should you create so that people actually find you and want to buy from you. Okay, write that down. You need to know what should your content strategy be. I've created a video already explaining what that should be. So check out the link down below. I'll put it down below. I'll put like video 1 next to it. This is going to help you create your content strategy. This is going to take work, but this will work if you're willing to do the work. Okay. Number 2, you're going to also need to make sure that when you post your videos, people find the video. What happens when you post the video? Then what? Who finds you? Who's going to actually follow, subscribe, listen, and buy from you? So I have had so many videos, but I'll put my top one that I made just like last month or so on how I get discovered on YouTube. Okay, I'll share a method of how I was able to get, I think, like 15,000 subscribers in the matter of like a couple weeks or something like that. To sell successfully on YouTube, you're going to need to be able to understand both things. Now, marketing, selling, that takes work. That takes strategy. Don't let this part of what I'm saying right now deter you. Your first step, if I were you, I would even pause right here, handle the first part, and then come back once that's done and then watch this part. So the first thing is for y'all to actually put it into work. So I say all that to say, this is where the work begins. We can no longer say that no one's showing you how. We can no longer say that we don't have the money to start. We can no longer say that I want to make more income. You can say that, and this is how you do it. And so if you followed along with me today, you now have the tools to create your next digital product. You can go into the new year. Whenever you're watching this video, this will be relevant for years to come. You can go into the new year creating something that will help you to generate additional income. And let me just remind you and say, like, you don't need a huge audience. I know it can feel like intimidating because it's like, okay, this girl has all these subscribers. She can do it. I can't. I started, check out some of the videos on my channel, y'all. Look at my first couple videos. You will see how scrappy I showed up from the beginning many years ago. You'll see how I was selling, what I was selling, what I was doing, what I was talking about. And Look at some of my videos that have a lot of very little views. People were still there. I still had community. And so you don't need a huge audience, but what you do need is you have to be really clear on your who. You've got to define a who, and you've got to determine what you're going to help them with. You just need a transformation that someone is willing to pay for. And if you've gone through these steps, now you have it. If you took the time to actually build alongside me, then let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new here to my channel, because in my next video, I'm going to be sharing how I turned this one small digital product into multiple streams of income, which is what led to a 6-figure business for me. So if you're ready to do this, to get this started and to create multiple streams of income for yourself, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys here in my next video.